All right, welcome in, my friends. Today we're going to be focusing on flexibility, and our goal is to make sure that we don't need too much equipment. So all I need you to do is find yourself a chair, of course a mat. I've also got myself a couple other tools. So some of the other things that we're going to be using is a foam roller. I also want you to make sure that you have your two therapy balls nice and close. So I've got a 5-inch diameter therapy ball, and then I got a lacrosse ball. I also have my long resistance band. Now this is one of those pull-up assist bands. We're going to use this for a couple different things, so make sure that you keep this nice and close. And then I would say probably the most important thing is to have some water nearby. Go ahead and give yourself a good sip. Get yourself nice and hydrated, and we're going to go ahead and get into this. This today is going to be an hour-long video, so make sure that you have the time. Of course, if you want to warm yourself up, you certainly can go for a nice 15-20 minute walk, whether it be around the neighborhood, treadmill, cycle bike, anything. Get that circulation flowing and then jump right into some flexibility. One of the biggest keys in making sure that you are flexible is making sure that you're hydrated. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and grab a seat in your chair. All we want to do is sit up in the best posture possible, making sure that your spine is up nice and straight, your shoulders are back, and I like to imagine that something is either pulling me from the head to make me sit tall, or even from my sternum to pull me up and have me sitting as tall as possible. Our first stretch here is just going to be with the head and neck. We're going to make our way through a couple different movements. So the very first one, I'm just going to start by turning right to left. So I'm going to sit tall. Turn as far as you can to one side, rotate over. Your goal here for your breathing, inhale as you turn, exhale as you reach into your stretch. Rotate across. We're going to count our way up to 10 for these. Remember your breathing. As you're turning your head, take your deep breath in, and then as you get into your stretch, exhale. In the beginning, I like to try to control my breathing through my nose. So in the nose and then exhaling through the nose, just to try to control the respiratory system. Deep breath in and stretch. Inhale through the nose and stretch. Next one we're going to work with is your tilting. So I'm going to actually tilt my head, bringing my ear as close to the shoulder as possible, then tilt in the opposite direction. You should really feel this coming down the side of your neck. Now, if you want a little bit more, just let those hands relax down. And every time that you tilt your head one way, try to reach a little further with that opposite side. So you're just increasing that stretch between your shoulder and your ear. Again, for your breathing, let's take an inhale as we transition and exhale as you set into your stretch. Deep breath in through the nose and tilt. Inhale and really big reach across. 2 more here, deep breath in and release. As you can see, our wonderful friend, our mascot, Orion, looks like he's gonna get comfortable right here on the mat with us. So our next one is gonna be up and down. So my goal is to flex the head up to the ceiling, and then we're gonna tuck that chin and get it as close down to the sternum as you can. So the first one is I'm lifting up, and then come all the way back down. Deep breath in through the nose as you lift up, and come back down. Inhale and exhale. From here, really think about getting up as high as you can and then down as low as you can. I want you to think about you're stretching the front of the chest and neck as you look up, and then you're stretching the back of your neck as you look down. Again, lift that head up as high as you can. Get that chin as high to the ceiling as you can. Deep breath, and let's bring it back down. Bring that chin all the way down to the sternum. We're gonna get a couple more here. Deep breath in as you look up and exhale at the highest point to really get your stretch. And then bring it on back down and stretch as you tuck the head down. We really wanna try to feel that stretch in the back of the neck. Let's get 2 more here together. Perfect. Now I just want to combine two of those. So I'm first going to have you turn your head and then we're going to look down. A little bit different of a stretch, but you should feel that coming down through the back of the neck and into the back of that shoulder just a little bit. Again, we look up, turn all the way to the other side, tuck down, and get into the back of that neck. Again, up, turn, and then down. Back up, rotate across, and down. If you are looking for a little bit extra, lift your head real quick. I'll show you this real fast. When we turn and look down, you may have been or seen in the past pulling on that head to increase that stretch. Now, we don't want to do bicep versus the neck, so it's not a challenge between the two. All you're going to do is use those fingertips, look down, and just give yourself the slightest additional help. Really, don't try to get as much as you can out of this stretch. Instead, just give yourself a little touch. Lift up, turn, look down first, find your position first. Then you can get a little bit of extra help from the hands. Good. And we can relax there. From here, I'm going to get some big backwards shoulder circles just to get a little bit of blood flowing in those traps there. We just stretched all through the neck. 3, 2, and last one. Next one, we're going to start to work into rotation and start to work with the arms and back. So I'm going to first place one hand on one knee, crossing my spine, but still making sure the chest is up nice and high. This opposite hand can either hold the chair, the back of the chair, or even just your hip. And I want you to take a deep breath in and exhale as you rotate. Rotating the spine. Your goal is not to crack anything. I just want you to take a couple deep breaths, sitting up nice and tall. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale. Let's get a rotation to the other side. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale as you get into your rotation. I want you to take 3 deep breaths in this position here. Remember to keep that chest up nice and high and feel where that stretch is. We want that to be right up along the spine as you rotate. Should be your 3rd breath there. This one's going to be a little bit quicker. Deep breath in and exhale. Turn to the other side. Deep breath in and exhale. Okay, next we're going to move into our lats. So what we want to do is get through the side of the body. So I'm going to take my hand to one side of the chair just for a little bit of extra support. I'm then going to reach that hand up, the opposite hand as high as possible. Take a deep breath in, and then we're going to tilt over to the side. Now, remember that chair can be there for your extra support. If you want a little more support further out, you can use that foam roller, place it there, deep breath in, and reach. Remember, if you've worked with me before, there's a good chance we've done this stretch against the wall. So take a deep breath in, we'll switch those sides, reach that hand, and exhale into your stretch. Perfect. Now we're going to do this on the one same side. 3 deep breaths. Take a deep breath in, lift up, and exhale into your reach. 3, 2, back up, same side. Reach those fingers as high as you can, and then come across. 3, 2, 1, back up. Last one here, deep breath in, and exhale. Reach those fingers as far as you can. Think that like I'm above you, pulling the wrist and forcing you to get a little bit more. Relax. Let's go ahead and take it to the other side. 3 times for this one. Reach that hand up and tilt. Back up. Reach those fingers as high as you can and tilt. Deep breath in. Last one here, big reach and reach across. And you can relax there. Perfect. The lat's so good for you. Now, of course, if you want a little bit more, you can do that against the wall. Reach that hand. Remember, whenever we have our hand against the wall and we're standing, your outside leg steps back so that when you do that reach, you can get that whole long stretch. So we're gonna go ahead and move on into the back here. A little bit more of the back. So we just did a reaching stretch. Now let's do something that mimics the child's pose. So you can use your chair. We're just gonna stand up and turn the chair to the side. Simple movement. From here, I'm just gonna step back a little bit and reach down with my hips. So I'm sending the hips back first and coming straight down. Take a deep breath in, come on back up. You're gonna feel this in two places. I want you to feel this in the back of the legs as well as your back. Slightly bend the knees, reach back. Once you get yourself down nice and low, we can turn the hips side to side. We can also straighten the knees and bend. By doing this here, you're gonna really feel those hamstrings right behind the knees there. Back to turning the hips side to side. Now this side to side movement, I want you to pay attention to. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my right hand, put it on top of my left. So that right hand comes over to one side. Whichever side the hands are, you're gonna turn the hips the opposite way. So if this is my hips going towards the screen, I'm gonna place my hands on that opposite side. And what you do is you create a crescent on that one side of your body. I want you to see if you can feel that stretch from your armpit all the way down to your hip. I'm gonna go to the other side, same thing. This stretch goes all the way here. Remember, since I'm on this side with my hands, my hips are rotating the other way to open up the side of my back. And release there. Of course, we do have some techniques on how to do that on the floor. Remember, for this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to do majority of these stretches, not only in the chair, but also on the floor. So we should be able to cover all bases. Next, we're gonna move into the hamstrings. So notice I'm just moving and making my way down the back of the body. So to get to the back of the leg here, we have a couple different options. If I do the first one with the chair, I'm gonna start with both feet shoulder width apart. From here, I'm then gonna reach down to the chair. Now, if you can get your flat hands on the chair, great. You may need to use just the fingertips. What's most important though, is that we're not rounding the back to get down there, okay? I want you to think about those hips going straight back and you keeping your back as straight as possible. Try not to bend those knees to get you closer. Try to keep those knees as straight as you can. And you either have fingertips on the chair, knuckles, a fist, flat hand, and then when you're ready to get a little advanced on this one, you can come down to your forearms. Now, for those who have already been working with me and we've started to open up those hamstrings, you may be ready to go a little further. So if you're in the group that is already using the chair, I want you to hold that stretch while I explain these other ones. So remember to take a deep breath in as you're doing your stretch. So here I have the same components. I can either do fingertips, I can do knuckles, I can do fists, or I can do flat hands. Now, if you can get your forearms down there, send me that video, you're gonna be my coach. But from here, let's see if we can just reach on down. Now for this, you can hold your stretch for 60 seconds, 90 seconds. You can also do a little back pedaling. You can also bend both knees and straighten. Both of these really good for stretching those hamstrings. Whenever you're just holding your stretch, that's called a static stretch. And then whenever you're going in and out of your stretch every couple seconds, that's called a dynamic stretch. And what we're doing is just giving ourselves a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes holding this stretch. It doesn't matter what your style is, try to keep that pressure out of your back and just focus on the back of the legs. We're gonna bring ourselves back up in 3, 2, and 1. Try to keep the back straight and stand tall. Next, we're gonna individualize this. So I'm looking for one leg at a time. So if we're using the chair, what I want you to do is cross one leg over top. And the goal here, since this leg is crossed in front, I want you to focus on stretching this back leg. So what I'm gonna do is not even worry about the front, so I can be on the toes there and reach down to that chair. Again, the goal here is to focus on the back leg. So think about your progressions. You can be on your hands, you can be on your forearms, or you can reach to that floor. Right here, we're holding these for 30 seconds and then we're gonna switch sides. Remember to take your breath. So you're taking a deep breath in through the nose and then exhaling. If you can still exhale through the nose, great, but there's nothing wrong with exhaling through the mouth. Let's take that deep breath in and exhale. From here, let's lift on back up and we're just gonna switch those feet. So whatever the progression is for you, go ahead and switch the feet and let's go ahead and reach on down as low as you can. Remember your breathing. We've got 30 seconds here. Choose your progression, choose your challenge. Deep breath in through the nose and strong, controlled exhale. Again, deep breath in and exhale. I got 8 more seconds here for you. Take that deep breath in through the nose and exhale. Perfect. Let's come on up and let's transition to the other side of the leg. So when we're sitting all day, our knees are bent, right? So the hamstring, which likes to be long and stretched like we were just doing, it gets shortened because the knee's bent all day. So we just spent some good time on that hamstring. But now we need to get into the hip flexor. And so the hip flexors and quadriceps can get opened up in a very simple stretch. I'm gonna place my hand on the chair or something for balance, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab that back foot. Now the goal here with this stretch, you wanna keep that knee straight down, and from here, pull that foot up as high as you can. I'm not going to let this knee be in front, nor am I gonna try to bring it way back. I want you to keep yourself nice and even and just focus on the stretch. Now here, these quadriceps do get lengthened all day long. So we're actually gonna do a little bit of contract release. So my goal here is to push my foot into my hand for 5 seconds, then release and pull back. So what does that pushing feel like? It's almost as if I'm trying to kick my foot out of that grip. So let's go ahead and find our balance and find our position. I'm gonna take a deep breath in through the nose and then push into that hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax, pull back, and push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, we'll get one more. And now I didn't mention, but grabbing the foot, you can also go ahead and push. You can also grab with a towel or resistance band. 3, 2, and 1. Give it a good stretch. All right, give that leg a little bit of a rest. If grabbing that foot was too challenging, you can always turn away from your chair. You can place one foot on the chair, wrap that foot with your band or towel, pull that over your shoulder, and then use that to help you lift that leg. But let's go ahead and switch to the other side. So I'm gonna put this chair over here just to make sure you can see everything. But again, your hand is up for balance. And the goal is to bring that knee right next to the other leg. Chest up nice and high, deep breath in through the nose. For this first one, we're just holding this stretch for 15 seconds. After that, we're gonna go into that contract release. You should feel the pressure in the front of the thigh. I'm gonna take a deep breath in through the nose and then push into the hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Give it a good stretch. Pull way back. And push. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull back, big stretch. Give it a good stretch there. And push. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Last stretch. Pull that foot all the way up there. And slowly release. Perfect. Now we went into those quadriceps with a little bit of activation, and I still want to release my hip flexors. So we're gonna get down to the floor. However, if getting to the floor is a little too challenging, I want you to push your knee up on that chair. So from here, I wanna think about putting my hips back and then pushing my hips forward. Back, forward. I wanna feel that stretch right in the front of the thigh. So what you might have to do is take that knee back just a little bit, give yourself some space, and then tuck in. I like to think of pushing my fist in the back of the hip here to help get that stretch in the front of the thigh. We're gonna release back and then push forward, okay? Deep breath in through the nose and then exhale and push forward. So continue that stretch, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the floor. From here, I'm just gonna go down to one knee. I'm looking for 2 90-degree angles in the knees. That is then gonna make sure that my hips are balanced. Then again, I'm gonna push the hips back and then hips forward. When those hips come forward, I really want you to feel that stretch right there in the front of the hip. We're gonna take a deep breath in through the nose and then exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. One more deep breath in through that nose and exhale. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a moment to switch those legs. If you're using the chair, just place the other leg up onto the chair. And of course, if you're on the ground, let's just go ahead and switch those knees. I'll go ahead and turn to the side so you can see the hip that we're working on. Make sure your opposite leg is in front. From here, remember the hip movement. I'm either going to be pushing my hips back or tucking the hips forward. Deep breath in through the nose and then tuck forward and exhale. We're going to do this a couple times and then we'll just hold a stretch. Press through here and hold. We got deep breaths in through the nose. Take a deep breath in, fill up your lungs, and exhale, but do not release the stretch. Deep breath in and exhale. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Last one here, deep breath in and exhale. Perfect. Now we're actually going to take it back to the chair and work with the hamstrings a little bit more. So you may notice I'm going back and forth between stretching and activation because certain muscles aren't getting activated through the day and then other muscles are getting too activated through the day. So we've already stretched the hamstrings a little bit. We do have some more stretches coming for the hamstrings. So now I want to get some fresh blood into that area. So what I'm going to do is grab my therapy ball. Now you can either use your therapy ball or you can use your lacrosse ball. I'm going to use the therapy ball because it's going to be easier for you to see and he likes to play with it, as you can tell. You can also use that lacrosse ball to help get into a much deeper area of the hamstring. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see everything. This ball is actually going to go, you're blocking the camera, my friend. I think he knows what he's doing. Come over here. I'm going to take this ball and place this right underneath of that hamstring. So you got to lift this leg up, get that ball under there. I like to start at the very top, so right underneath of the glutes. From here, push that leg down into the ball. So you can use your hands, you can use your forearms and lean into it, but you may already feel some pressure. All we're gonna do next is just either turn that foot side to side or extend that leg out. Now, when you extend that leg out, of course your quads are being used to get it up there, but the hamstring is really stretching down there. So take a deep breath in, extend, and feel that muscle stretch. Of course, if you want a little more, straighten out, and then you can lean forward. I like to pull myself down on the chair and then work into that muscle a little bit more. Now, there are two big muscles back there, two hamstrings. So when you do the right to left, you kind of work your way in between the two. But when you're going straight out, especially if you have that little lacrosse ball, you may be too isolated. So just move your way around. So I'm gonna lift the leg up, bring that roller down or ball down a bit, and try it in a new spot. Work back and forth, pin with your arm, and then extend. See if you can get that leg to straighten out as much as possible. Next thing, I'm just gonna make my way down. Now, I'm personally right now moving between the two hamstrings. Everybody's different. If you need a little bit more on one side, then go ahead and individualize. But sometimes it's difficult to know which side is tighter, which side needs more attention. So in other words, just focus on getting that. That's why I use the bigger ball, because not only can you see it, but it's taking care of two things at once. That smaller lacrosse ball is going to be much more accurate to a very specific point. But if you don't know what point, what's the point of that accuracy? Instead, let's use a broader tool and get to the whole thing. And as you learn your body and learn more about your muscle, you'll be able to make a difference there and see the difference. Last one, I'm just gonna come all the way down in there, right behind that knee, and pull out. The hamstring actually reaches down past the knee, so you're still working that hamstring by having it here. I don't like to foam roll the hamstrings because your leg is straight if you're on the ground. Instead, that hamstring needs to be relaxed. That means the knee has to be bent. Perfect. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. A quick flip of the chair, and we're gonna start up high in the hamstring again. So lift that leg up, get that ball all the way up in there, and then find your pressure. My favorite part about the chair is you can pull yourself down into this chair. Okay? We again have our stretches forward and back. Just come over here, my friend. Back and forth. We got a great relationship, but he tends to need to be involved in everything. I've also got my right to left. And then of course my up and down. I'm trying to get him to stretch his hamstrings, but he's not about it. He would rather watch. So let's make our way down. I'm gonna try to break this up into 4. So I was just up really high. I'm gonna go down here, here, and then there. So maybe that might work for you. Maybe one spot is enough, but take your time and work through the different parts of the muscle. I've got right to left. I also have got up and down. Now, I'm also using those quads to do this. Remember, the knee's bent all day long. So these quad muscles are just being stretched all day long. We actually have to activate them. So this move here is doing 2 things at once. One of the biggest benefits of all of my work is I try to save time. So I'm teaching you how to do multiple things at the same time. So not only are we rehabbing the hamstring through flexibility, I'm rehabbing the quadricep through activation at the same time. Not everybody has 2, 3, 12 hours to work on their fitness. So it makes sense to find the most efficient techniques to save you time, but give you incredible results. Forward and back, and of course, right to left to help you get between the 2 hamstrings there. If I wanted to focus on my outermost hamstring, I would put that ball more on the outside of the leg, And if I want to focus more on my innermost hamstring, that ball goes on the inside. But if you were thinking hamstrings is just you got one hamstring on the back of each leg, because you know how tight those hammies can get, believe it or not, once you get into separation, you start to learn that there are two muscles back there. Good. So if you need to work with this one a little bit more, go ahead and pause that video and spend a little bit more time. Maybe you want to try the lacrosse ball out. Take your time with it, make sure that you're breathing, and definitely drink some water to go with that. All right, let's go ahead and make our way down to the floor. We're going to start to use that resistance band to help us stretch out the hamstrings. Now that we just did a little bit more activation, we're going to get into them again. Notice that ratio. I'm stretching my hamstrings much more than I'm stretching some other muscles, but that's primarily because they get so tight. So let's go ahead and take it on down to the floor. Now I want to make sure that I'm using my mat here, so give yourself enough space. From here, I'm just going to start off with a good glute and hip flexor work. So I'm going to straighten out that bottom leg. Let's kind of adjust some of this stuff so you can see everything. If you didn't get any water on our transition to the floor, take a good sip real quick. Always remember, one of the secrets to flexibility is making sure that you're hydrated. I'm going to keep my resistance band nice and close, but we're not going to use it yet. So back here to the mat. First, let's work with the stretch, then we'll work with the activation. So I'm going to pull this knee back and then extend my other leg out straight. You want to make sure that there's no bend in that straight knee. So let's really straighten that out. From here, pull with the hands on just beneath the knee and pull straight back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now your hand that's across the body, go ahead and hold on to the knee, let the other hand relax. Then we're gonna pull that knee across. 3, 2, 1. Come up, switch the hands. The long hand now goes to the inside of the leg, other hand opens out to the side, and then I'm gonna bring the knee down. 3, 2, 1. Come back up, switch, pull across. Now when I pull across, I'm not trying to roll all the way over onto my side. I'm actually trying to, in my mind, keep my hips close to the ground and just pull across so you can feel the glutes. I want you to feel this more in the glutes than in your back. From here, switch, open out, 3, 2, 1. Pull back in, come across, and reach. 3, 2, 1. Open out. 3, 2, 1. And then my last one here for this move. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Now from here, pull that knee right on back again. And relax. Now my hands are going to come in front. I'm placing the palm on the back hand here, and I'm gonna meet those hands right where the knee is. Now I'm gonna push this knee into the hands and then push the hands into the knee. So I've created force between the two. You're gonna push there, 3, 2, 1, then pull back and extend the leg out. Then come back in, push, 3, 2, 1. Pull back and stretch out. Reach all the way out there and come back. Last one, 3, 2, 1. Pull back and reach out. Perfect. Once again, just another quick activation technique. Now we don't want to activate these muscles too much. Why? Because we're sitting all day, right? So these muscles get tight anyway. But that just because they're tight doesn't mean they're strong. So let's make sure that they're developed, but we also do good work stretching them. So from here, let's come back. Remember, our first move is to pull straight back. Now I'm going to use the hand that's on the outside and pull that knee across. 3, 2, 1. Open out to the side. Same thing, far as you can. 3, 2, 1. Come back in. 3, 2, 1. Come across. 3, 2, 1. Grab that knee again and reach. 3, 2, 1. Open out. 3, 2, 1. Let's finish out with one more here. Big stretch. 3, 2, 1, and come across. 3, 2, 1. Give a good pull to that knee, and let's get into some of our activation here. So reach that leg out, and you're going to place your hands, get them ready, and push. 3, 2, 1. Pull back and reach out. Again, come back and push. 3, 2, 1. Pull in and stretch. And then last one here. 3, 2, 1. Pull back and stretch out. Perfect. Now, there might be some tightness in your lower back. So what we're going to do to impact that is we start with those arms out into a T. We're going to lift those knees up off the floor. Now, I will say this might be a little advanced. So if you want to keep your feet on the ground for the first try, that's okay. But we're lifting those feet up, and we're going to let those knees fall all the way to the side. Now, it's common for those knees to end up down here, but I want you to try to bring those knees up to waist height and rotate from there. Take a deep breath in through the nose, lift up, and let's reach to the other side. Again, lift up and rotate across. Control, take a deep breath in through the nose, lift up, and reach across. We're going to get one more for each side here. Lift up and reach. And then our last one, lift up nice and high and reach. Now I'm going to show you one way to progress this here. As we come up to this side again, I'm going to turn over. Now when you're doing this next time, or if you would like to pause the video and get a little bit more in, you just reach this leg as far as you can and increase that stretch in your lower back. 3, 2, and relax. Of course, if you did it with me, let's just go ahead and do that other side. If this is a little too much, just stick with the first one that we were working with. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Let's give a little relaxation there. If you need some water, take a moment, get some water in your system. We're going to be moving back to those hamstrings, but we're going to need your resistance band. So how do we use this resistance band? We're going to place this around one foot. So just choose a leg. Now this first part, I would say, is not it, right? Because we got to make sure that you wrap that band around your foot. I say this every single time because I have experienced this band coming back down and hitting you in the chest. Hopefully it's your chest, but let's make sure that it doesn't happen at all. So I place that band around, but then I'm going to grab the band, wrap up again, and pull it nice and tight. Now, when you pull to do your stretch, it's actually making it tighter, so the chances of it slipping off are much less. If you're barefoot or in a sock, just be very cautious of where that band is. The first thing that I'm gonna do is grab up nice and high. I have this other knee bent and foot is flat, and I'm just gonna focus on pulling those toes down and then pushing back up against the resistance. Pull down and then back up into the resistance. We'll get 3 more, so we have 5 all together. Back up, bring it back down, and lift back up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and straighten out that other leg and pull those toes to me. It's gonna help make sure that your knee is really straight. From here, I'm just gonna pull those toes down to me in the top foot and then pull that leg back. Now feel that hammy stretch. It's a little different than what we were doing before here. Make sure that your bottom knee is straight and this top knee is straight as well. Now the secret here to get a little bit more flexibility is to do, again, our activation and our release. So I'm gonna activate by pushing that leg into the band for a few seconds, then relax the leg and pull it back with your hands. Even just for me, I just got myself an extra 10, 15 degrees just by doing that once. So again, push into the band and release. And I got even more. We'll do one more. Push and release. Perfect. Now I'm gonna keep this band on. If I've got it on the right leg, I'm gonna grab it with my left hand. So grab it with the opposite hand. From here, use your free hand to make sure that your hip stays on the ground. And I'm gonna pull that leg across. You're gonna really feel this stretch coming up through the outside of the leg and maybe even into the glutes if you're getting there. Then come back up. When I come back up, I think about that activation too. I'm using the muscle to lift that leg against the resistance, and then we go back into the stretch. Lifting back up. We're gonna go for 5 here again. This is 3. Back up. Give yourself a little more resistance, pull down. Don't let your hip come off the ground, so we're not turning our body. Keep everything up. And then we'll finish with one more, same thing. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna grab that band and then open out to the other side. So reach all the way out. This other hand goes out for like a little extra stability and reach. Then come back on up, pull back some and reach out. We're again gonna get 5 here. Back up, pull back, and open out. This is 3. Pull back, open out. This is 4. And then last one, pull back, open out to the side. And 5. These are your adductors, muscles on the inside of the thigh, because again, we sit so much, our knees are always very close together. So those muscles never get stretched. We're just warming them up because I got some really good stretches for them coming up. We're gonna switch those legs, wrap around once, wrap around twice. Go ahead and lift up, and we have 15 movements here, okay? So we first have the hamstring, then we're gonna open out to the side, to the inside for the glutes, and we open out to the outside for these muscles on the inside of the thigh. So first start by pulling the toes, well actually we can keep this knee bent here. We gotta get into the calves first. So pull the toes down and then push away. Pull back down and push back up. Down and back up. Pull down, we'll do 2 more. Back up. Last one here, toes down and push back up. Let's straighten out that bottom leg. Pull the top toes and the bottom toes. Pull both toes towards you. And then let's go ahead and pull that leg straight back. Then from here, our activation, contract and release. Remember, we contract by pushing into the band, and then we release and pull back. Push into the band and release. Push and release. And by release, of course, I mean stretch that leg. Push into the band and release. We're gonna get one more on this side here. Push and release. From here, whatever leg the band is on, grab it with the opposite hand. Use that free hand to make sure your hip stays down and pull that leg across the body. Back up and pull across. Good. 3. Good. Pull back, come across. 4. Good. Again, one more time, pull back and come across. 5. From here, we're gonna open out to the inside of the leg. So pull that leg all the way out to the side. You can use your other hand for that counterbalance. And then bring it right on back up. Open out. And back up. Back down, big stretch, and back up. We're gonna get 3 more of opening out to the side. I like to reach my hand at the same time because it just helps me mentally think that I'm opening up the body as much as possible, both ways. And then we'll hit that last one here, open out, and lift back up. Perfect. We're done with those hamstrings there. We're gonna go ahead and lift ourselves up and get ourselves onto one knee. So a little bit different here, okay? I'm coming up. This may be a perfect moment for you to get some water. We wanna remember to stay as hydrated as possible as we make our way through this whole thing. Next here, I'm on that one knee, and I'm gonna place that one foot in front. Very similar to when we were doing our hip flexor. I'm reaching way back with that knee. I'm gonna flip those toes and then place my hands on top of that knee, lift the chest, and really try to get as much of a stretch in the front of the thigh as you can. Take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Deep breath in. On this last one, turn your body towards the front knee and give yourself a really good exhale. I want you to get this stretch as much as you can in the front of the hips. Deep breath in, and last one. I'm gonna bring my hands down to the floor, pull back, straighten out that knee, lift those toes high, you'll feel that hamstring again, and then come back forward. Pull back again, and back forward, pull back. Here's 3, we're going for 5, 4, good, and 5. Perfect. Of course, we're gonna do the other side. Go ahead and switch. Other knee is our balance, other foot's in front. I like to start with the 290s, bring my hand down and my forearm on the knee, and then get that opposite knee to go back as far as you feel comfortable. Flip those toes, and then lift the chest up nice and high. My forearm helped create a little extra stability. My chest is up. Control your breathing here. We got a 10-second hold with our deep breaths, and then we'll rotate. Take a deep breath in and exhale. From here, one hand grabs the back of the thigh, the other hand stands on top of the knee, and rotate that chest, controlling your breathing. Of course, hold by, use your foam roller, or use your chair, anything to help you keep yourself up nice and stable. Today, the foam roller has really been helped with stability. A lot of these moves can be enhanced through the foam roller, but of course, that's gonna be in another video. That's more of an advanced style. Let's relax that here. Let's bring those hands down. From here, I'm pulling back and forth, and I'm gonna give myself 5 times again. 2, pull back with your breathing. Exhale every time you come forward. Inhale back and exhale back forward. Real big stretch for each one. And there we go. Perfect. From here, we're gonna turn our bodies, come on down to our forearms, and take our knees nice and wide. So it starts out looking like so. I've got my knees nice and wide, and I'm gonna open my feet out to each side and flatten them down. From here, we come down to the hands. Now the goal here for the hands is to create that extra support so that I can push back slightly and then back forward. Push back very slight and back forward. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale as you get into your stretch. A couple times back and forth. What I'm gonna do is turn to the side so you can see. Again, flat feet, not like your classic child's pose. Instead, push back. Now, you've probably been at this about 8 to 10 times here. I want you to take a deep breath in, try to get those knees a little wider, and come down to your forearms. From here, push back slightly again, back and forth. Really feel the stress in the groin as you allow that to stretch. Again, these are muscles that, the knees are closed all day because we're sitting and driving and walking even. So these muscles don't get a good stretch. Now take a deep breath in and hold in the back. And if this is good for you, I want you to stay in this stretch while I explain some of these next movements. If you're looking for a little extra, bring those hands up. We're gonna take one leg and open that out to the side. From here, I'm gonna again push back and forth slightly. You're not looking for a lot of pain here, okay? I want you to take your time moving back and forth. And then the next level of advancing this would be to push back enough that you can lift those toes and sit your body to the ground. You can then rotate your body and reach down towards that front leg. Come on back up. To get out of this stretch, I'm gonna place one hand just underneath the groin and use my other hand to push up onto that and come out of the stretch. We'll do it again. I'll do it this way so you can see. So if you're still in your stretch, you can slightly come out of that and take a quick breather. But for this one, opening that leg out to the side, again, pushing back and forth. How do we get that excess? We rotate the foot up, come down to the floor. Now take your time with this. This is really serious on that hamstring. I wanna make sure that you're ready before you move into this movement. Then of course, come down, keep those toes pulled to you and get your head to come down as low as possible. This is a combination of incredible flexibility of the hamstring, but also the back as well. So if you're not at this point, it's okay. We've already gone over the stretches that will get you here. You just have to take a little bit of time, a little bit of patience. This whole game is patience. But if we slow down, we will speed up, okay? So you will get much more effective the more time that you take and the more focus you have. Take a deep breath in, again, push up on to that hand and bring the knee back. Perfect. Take a deep breath in there. Take a moment, grab some water, because we definitely have been working a little bit. You might be sweating. I'm getting a little bit of sweat going. You never have to think that you're not working out when you're taking time to stretch. Flexibility is just as important as the strength. Remember my pillars of muscle growth. You have to build the muscle, you have to stretch the muscle, and then you have to release the muscle. So we're gonna spend the last few moments here releasing the glutes and the back and the quads with this foam roller. Now, of course, you already have your courses, so you know there's a whole video on how to go through the entire lower body. We're just gonna wrap up real quick with glutes, quads, and the back. So make sure that roller's in good position. You're just gonna sit right up on top. Whichever glute you're working on first, straighten that leg. The opposite knee is bent and that foot is like your driver. So we go back and forth here. I'm going down to the bottom of the glute and then up to the top of the glute. You can roll onto your side. You can turn in a little bit and get to the top there as well. Feel through the different parts of the glute there. You may notice one side's a little tighter than the other. Here we'll take a second, go over to the other side, turn your hips. I like to focus on one side at a time so you can, well, all of this is really getting you to know your own body. So sometimes you'll notice like, man, my left side is tighter than my right today. And you gotta think about it. What did you do yesterday that could have made that side tighter? Or what have you been doing for the last couple years that could make that side tighter? Our body will tell you everything that is taking it out of balance, but you just have to learn that language, right? So from here, we're gonna come down into the back. Never roll in that lower back area. Instead, start right at the base of the ribs because the ribs will protect other organs. And from here, instead of rolling, we're just gonna do some segments. So I'm just gonna extend the spine and then release. Come down a little bit, come back just some and release. Now, depending on your flexibility, you may be able to feel yourself round all the way over the roller. And then also, you may only feel comfortable doing this. Again, listen to your body. So this is our spinal flexion and extension. Now I want you to think of tilting. So I'm gonna keep my hands behind my head and tilt to the side and then tilt to the other side. Back and forth here, really big stretches for each one. I want you to feel that all through the armpit and down even into the hip some. Good, last one here. Perfect. Now, before we move to the quads, a little bit of a final stretch for that hip flexor. We're going to lay down onto our back, lift up your hips, and place that roller just underneath of your hips. From here, pull one leg back to you and straighten out the other leg. Take a deep breath in. 3, 2, 1. Pull that other knee back up. And reach, always start in this position and then reach down. Meaning you wouldn't want to start with both legs straight and then trying to pull one leg back. Always start with both knees up and then slowly extend into your stretch because you have to give your body time to communicate with you if it's not good for it. Again, pull that single knee up. It's easier for the back than trying to lift both and extend one leg. This is that hip flexor. Now, I waited to show you this till the end because I wanted to make sure that those hip flexors were nice and warm. You always want to take your time warming up before introducing somewhat of an advanced stretch. 3, 2, and 1. Let's lift those hips, roll that roller out. I'm going to turn over and we're just going to hit these quads real quick and then we'll be done. So when you come up, just rotate on over. Now I'm gonna start, let's make sure that you all can see it. So I'm gonna start on my left leg. I'm actually gonna start out on my right, because I want you to see where my left knee goes. So I'm gonna straighten out my right leg, come down to my forearms, and there my knee is out to the side. So that actually looks perfect, you can see both. So from here, I'm just going to roll back and forth, and all my focus is on that quadricep. Now, if this is too much for your shoulders, understandable. Instead, just pin and stretch. Of course, if you're doing the rolling, this pin and stretch is great as well. So control your breathing. This pin and stretch is just like we did with the hamstrings and that little ball, right? So find different spots and feel that stretch. And you also have your windshield, I like to call it the windshield wiper, where you're going side to side. Before we switch to the other side, I'm just gonna lift up and roll on the outside of that leg really quick. Just a couple passes. Depending on your time, you can always pop over to that other video and finish out your legs. But we've done so much here today. I think that the focus would be really to get some water, get some good food in your system, and relax. All right, I'm gonna transition over. Same thing for the other side. Let me move this mic. Straight leg, top leg is in front for balance. And again, you can, now also I didn't mention on the other side, you can do your flex and extend here. I just promise you, it's a little intense. Here's our rolling up and down. I can then come down onto my forearms. And again, we are here in that quadricep, lifting up and down. When you do your pin and stretch, do it at different points so you can really feel what's going on in the muscle there. Forwards, work back and forth a little bit, and relax. And there you have it, all finished up with your flexibility for today. I recommend doing this video 1 to 2 times per week. It doesn't have to be on a strength day. If there's a day that you want to take off, maybe it's a Saturday or Sunday, I would just recommend doing some cardio in the morning, get your system moving, get some good water in your system, and then make your way through this hour class. Afterwards, make sure you're getting your water in, but then have some really good nutrient-dense foods. And when I say that, I'm looking for protein, I'm looking for healthy fats, and I'm looking for good lean carbohydrates. Let's make sure that you're feeding your body exactly what you need so that you can get the results from it that you're looking for. Thanks for tuning in. Looks like, yep, I lost him. I was a little bit too boring for him. But check out some other videos. He's always making an appearance. Mr. Orion, our mascot. But again, thanks for joining in, and I'll see you on the next video.